this particular project was suggested by Mike Genovese. I'll have to admit he's also my husband. He said, get a hot mic, and I said, I already have one. But anyway, Michael has, in his long and varied career, done a lot of stunts in television and film as an actor, and variously being injured and being told by stunt performers and stunt coordinators how not to injure himself, felt this would be a really important panel, so I thank you for this idea. When we had this idea, and voted on it. This was last March, and then since April, Conrad Palmisano and Julie Michaels have been working with us putting this together, so I'm going to read you their bios and introduce them. Sorry. Julie Michaels, actress, stunt coordinator. Julie is best known for her roles as Denise in Roadhouse and Freight Train in Point Break. She is currently has over 100 film and television credits and has expanded from acting to stunts and stunt coordination. Julie was nominated for a 2011 SAG Award and for an Emmy Award in 2014 for Outstanding Stunt Coordination in a Comedy or Variety Series. Julie is the first woman in history to be nominated in this category. Girl power. And continuing with strong women, currently Julie is a stunt coordinator on How to Get Away with Murder and Jane the Virgin. She has also been successful as a producer and was awarded a Top 10 Producers Award at the Producers Guild of America's Make Your Own Mark competition for Last Rites, starring Lance Hendrickson. Julie is currently serving her second term on SAG-AFTRA's Los Angeles local board. Conrad Palmisano. Oh, that's Julie. Conrad E. Palmisano, Second Unit Director, Stunt Coordinator. Conrad is a sought-after Second Unit Director and Stunt Coordinator with over 200 credits, including Airplane, Rush Hour 2, Rush Hour 3, Lethal Weapon 4, X-Men, The Last Stand, and First Blood. He's been a member of SAG since 1970 and served 6 years as the president of the Stuntmen's Association of Motion Pictures, 2 as first vice president, and 5 years as executive secretary of SAM's board of directors. Conrad is a member of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, serves on the Blue Ribbon Committee of the Taurus World Stunt Awards, and was instrumental in forming the National Stunt and Safety Committee, which he also chaired, as well as having served on the board of directors for Legacy SAG and SAG-AFTRA. He has a commitment to give back to the industry for all he has received during his career. We are so honored to have Julie and Conrad with us tonight. Thank you so much. They put this whole thing together.
First of all, let me say good evening, everybody, and we're happy that you were able to come and join us tonight. You know, people say, you know, how can you do a stair fall without getting hurt? I said, well, you can't. It hurts all the way down for some time later, you know. What you want to do is avoid being injured. But sometimes it hurts to do what we do. That just comes with the territory, right? So we want to acknowledge that. And so when you get in those positions, just know that sometimes it can be a little owie here and there.
This is the art of portraying danger. And what we're going to do today is bring up some amazing panelists for you to be able to ask some questions about what to do if you feel unsafe. If you're on set and all of a sudden your tummy's going, this does not feel right, who do you go to? How many in here are actors? Raise your hand if you're actors. Awesome. How many of you are stunt performers? Great. How many of you have background? No background. Oh, goodness, we need our background. Okay, good. Okay, good. Because all of you have different needs and all of you have different points of contact. And that's what we want to try to teach you today. If something's going on, how to use your voice, how to know who to go to, and how for you to feel comfortable in every situation. Because after all, it's just a job, right? And we want to have fun doing it, and we want to make it home. So please let me introduce this amazing panel. I want to start off with Bill D'Elia, executive producer. Bill has produced and directed an impressive television shows, including How to Get Away with Murder, The Crazy Ones, Monday Mornings, Harry's Law, Boston Legal, and Ally McBeal. He has a DGA Award nomination, 2 Producer Guild Award nominations, and 8 Primetime Emmy nominations. Bill has directed over 100 episodes of television and is a consulting producer and director on numerous shows, as well as co-creating the show Judging Amy. He began his career adapting Thomas Bergen's Pulitzer Prize nominated novel, The Feud, which he also produced and, of course, directed. Bill D'Elia. Our next guest is Carrie Morrow, executive producer and UPM. Please welcome Carrie Morrow. She's a badass girl, let me just tell you. Columbia Pictures mega hit The Wedding Planner and Warner Brothers award-winning action film Kiss Kiss Bang Bang are just 2 of Carrie Morrow's credits as co-producer and unit production manager. She went on to become executive producer for Warner Brothers and Paul Feig's Unaccompanied Minors alongside Laura Schuler Donner. Carrie is a proponent for action, is also the sister to star Rob Morrow. It's a little fun little fact there. And she's also the newest co-producer for BET's hit show, Husbands of Hollywood. Please welcome Carrie Morrow. Our third panelist is Jim Goldthwait, our first assistant director. Please welcome Jim Goldthwait. CBS's heart-stopping show Code Black relies on the skill of assistant director Jim Goldthwait. Showtime's Shameless, CBS's Intelligence, and ABC's Lost round out the bevy of action television held safely in Jim's hand. I can attest to myself, he was my first AD when I got nominated. He is a strong advocate for safer sets, and he adds a large television career with an equally impressive feature list as well. Please welcome Jim Goldthwait. Conrad, you've been introduced, and you're there, so we'll go on to Alex Daniels, second unit director, and stunt coordinator Alex Daniels. As you might have guessed, he's also our class clown, right? God. You know he'll ask for a stunt adjustment, right? So Alex Daniels is a vice president of the Stuntmen's Association of Motion Picture and president of Frog Prince Productions, and is a top stuntman, stunt coordinator, and second unit director for television and feature films. Credits include Rob Reiner's The Bucket List and mini comedies with Ben Stiller, Sacha Baron Cohen. Sasha calls him every day. It bugs me. I'm on the phone with him. Sorry, I gotta go. Sasha's on. Such as Dodgeball, Along Came Polly, Borat, The Dictator, also included in the action and adventures The Guardian, Batman and Robin, and the recent remake of Point Break. Television credits 13 seasons of Jimmy Kimmel Live on ABC, 5 seasons of Ghost Whisperer on CBS, and he's currently coordinating Amazon's Bosch. Please welcome Alex Daniels. Next up is our set medic, Howard Keys. Please welcome Howard. Howard has been working as a first aid and medic in the motion picture and television industry for over 35 years. He has helped to provide medical aid to production, construction, rigging, and stunt departments. Howard has served on the board of the First Aid Local for over 20 years. Please welcome Howard Keys. Our last is a very special guest. She's flown all the way out here from South Carolina. This marks pretty much the second anniversary of Sarah Jones's accident and unfortunate death. I felt it very important to reach out and see if I could ask and beg Joyce Gillard, one of the crew members who was very badly injured on that horrible day. Please welcome our special guest, Joyce Gillard. Joyce is a mother of 3, a wife of 20 years, a licensed hairdresser for 25 years. She's a member of the local 798 Makeup and Hairstyle Union. Her work can be seen in various films and television shows such as Outcast, Vampire Diaries, Army Wives, Sleepy Hollow, Hunger Games, Banshee, and countless other films and magazines. She's also a mentor and a motivator and created a network for hairstylists and makeup artists to unite across the country. Joyce was injured was the injured hairstylist injured on Midnight Rider, where the camera assistant Sarah Jones was killed. Joyce's faith, strength, and determination to heal physically and mentally has helped to inspire others to speak up in the workplace when you don't feel safe. She will speak to that point, and I think it will help all of us know you have a voice, not only a right, but it is also your responsibility. Please welcome our guests. So I'm going to let each one of them kind of introduce themselves a little bit more, talk about how they feel about safety, and then we're going to open it up to questions. So, Bill, would you like to start? A director that needs to be directed.
I've produced as a director 11 different television shows. It would have been far fewer if some of those were bigger hits, but it's 11. I've directed far many more than that. I think I've directed over 100 hours of television at this point. When it comes to safety on the set, I like to talk to anybody involved in what's going on as if I were a 4-year-old and they were 2. I like to speak very directly, very slowly, and I like to ask the same questions over and over again. I want to be sure that they understand exactly what's expected of them, and I want them to understand exactly what I expect. I tend to talk about those things a little too much, but because I don't think you can talk about them too much. A lot of times people will think that I'm kind of going over it a little bit more than we should, but again, I don't think you can go over this kind of stuff enough. And as far as safety on the set and just in general, I can let some of these guys speak to it a lot better than me, but I encourage everybody always to go to the ADs, and I have a very open and congenial set, and I allow and encourage anybody to talk to me about anything they think is unsafe.
Jim?
Good evening. I think we all watched the intro movie, and I counted there was 241 safety meetings held before each of those stunts. And that's one of the most important parts of my job. And one of the things I wanted to say tonight is it's really important that you're a part of that meeting. Quite too often we have this safety meeting and we call everybody in, everybody goes, oh, and they don't want to go, and I'm saying it on the walkie-talkie so they can hear it over there. But it's a very empowering moment. One, it's very important that the actors come too, because quite often they don't want to go, they just want to say their lines and run away. So it's important that you're there. You hear all the things that are going to go on, all the elements that are going to be are involved in the stunt. And it's also what I know Conrad was talking about earlier, that it empowers you guys. It is the time for you to say, wait a minute, I've got a question. Hey, what exactly is flying out of that air mortar? Where is the car going? Am I safe in this position? Because quite too often we're afraid to say stuff, and this is definitely a place to use your voice, and don't be afraid to say, I've got a question. Is this okay? Is that okay? Am I safe in this position? And we're talking about stunts right now, but it's just anything on the set. You don't be afraid to speak up and say, hey, I just walked in and I saw that there was a hazard inside the door, because quite often, you guys know, we do so well at preparing for the stunts that that's not where the accident happens. It happens people walking into the stage to get to where we're doing the stunts. So it's a thing that I know for myself, I listen to my inner voice, and if you're ever on the set and you say, "Wait a minute, something's gnawing at me, something seems wrong," but no, I'm not gonna let somebody else ask that question. Don't be afraid. Stand up, speak your mind. You know, we've worked on awesome TV shows and Academy Award-winning movies, but not one of them is worth someone getting injured or not going home to their wife or husband and kids. Let's face it, that's what the world's about. It's not about being on a groovy TV show. Okay.
Alex.
I will, I'll address more specifically action-related things on the set. And there's so many things I'd like to say, and I'll try to bring it down to just a couple of things that are key. I think a lot of us will be talking about what to do when you're on the set and if you notice things and how to be safe. But I want to take it back further and say that I think the two main aspects of safety takes place before you get to the set, in the hiring process or in the prep process with the script and so forth. And so communication and preparation will prevent a lot of accidents or injuries and that sort of thing. So one, for example, with actors, we're all hungry. We all want to work in every capacity as performers, as directors, everything. We all want to keep working in this business because there's a lot of competition. And a lot of times we might not communicate well. People might not communicate well to you in the process, in the audition process, or from agents, because agents want you to work, and they want to say, yeah, they're fine with that. Yeah, it's good. And there's all this kind of stuff that leads up to putting us in a position where maybe we could potentially fail or get injured because we're hungry to be there. So it's really key to communicate. And don't worry about, I believe that God will bless us with work. It's key to be, it's really key that you're honest, and honest with yourself and with everybody out there you're communicating with. For example, years ago I was on a show in Hawaii, and they cast a person that was supposed to be a victim in an underwater sequence, and she was cast from LA, flown to Hawaii, and we were going to film all the specifics in a water tank there in Waikiki, and she was terrified of the water. So we worked with her for a couple of hours and said, well, they said there was water, but again, casting people, agents and so forth, just downplay things and this and that, and so, well, can't you double me? Well, no, this is again the communication of what is needed, what producers, directors, script needs to really clearly communicate what is needed of the performer, and then likewise the performer need to be clear about what you're comfortable with and capable of, because in this case, no, we needed close-ups of this person's face underwater, and we worked with her for a couple hours, and we can't force a person to, and she wanted to be there, so she was hungry, so she had to be recast there locally. And so again, this goes back to planning, communicating, and preparing ahead of time. And I have a number of stories that play in with this information in different ways. But I think it's really key that also for stunt people, a lot of times, again, I'm referring to water because I coordinate a lot of underwater things and so forth. And so often I get stunt people that I know that I, for example, brought out to Havasu for Piranha 3D, and they were not comfortable in the water. People think you have to be clear of what you can do and communicate well with the people that are hiring you. So. And I have lots more, but we'll...
I just want to add on that, just not only that most actors don't know you absolutely can request a stunt double. But on the onset, if you say that you can do something and you cannot, and in this case, needed to see your face, I'm really good at picking doubles, but I don't think I'm going to be able to get one that looks that close. So, okay, Conrad.
And for me, when I came into the business, we still had the Screen Extras Guild, and we had professional extras that would be the guys who drove the buggy down the main street on Bonanza downtown and like that. And there were dress extras, and in those days, the stunt guy would hit a bomb over there, and you would throw yourself on the ground over here, and you got bumps or whammies, and a bump or whammy was $10 a piece. And if you're doing like horse chases all day long, at the end of the day, maybe they give you 10 bumps. That's an extra $100 on top of your check. That was huge money at the time. And today, background performers aren't allowed to do that anymore. That it used to be that you could take a punch as an extra, but you couldn't throw a punch, right? and that you could fall down as long as your head didn't pass where you were standing. Like, you know, if you fell down on the ground, it was fine, but you couldn't fall off the sidewalk onto the street because your head would pass where your feet were. There were like little basic kind of rules like that that separated between stunts and background performers. And that as we move on, and I'll try and make this short so we can get to questions and like that, but as actors and or background performers and or stunt performers, if at any time you're not sure of exactly what's going on, stop, ask the question, right? Make sure that you're comfortable, you know what's going on, you know where the bomb is, how big is the bomb, where's it gonna go, where's it supposed to be safe. You see in a clip from Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid when they blew up the train? Well, they were supposed to be safe where they were standing, but you can see in that clip that those debris went by them at eye level at 100 miles an hour. The first thing they did was pick up the biggest stick they could find and go looking for the special effects guy. Right, so these things happen, but you have to be a little prepared for it and just be aware and say if anytime you don't know, the big thing is that you have to be responsible for yourself. The biggest word in Hollywood is no. No, hang on. I need to be sure what's going on. Don't be afraid to do that because after the fact, it's too late.
Carrie.
Hi.
Hi.
First, I have to say thank you to Julie for doing this because this is a thorn in my side. Because unlike people who take the falls or take the hits or Jim who executes the stunt, I'm the person, I have worked for the biggest producers on the earth. And I am the person that gets the script, the money, the star, and the director. And I'm told safety is I don't even know where safety is. And it is not in my budget because if I say, well, you know, I think we really need a second unit director, and I'm a DGA member, no, we don't need that. And I'm like, but that's like, my stunt coordinator could do that. No, we don't want to spend money on that. I have been, and I'm a woman, and we don't work as much as some of them, men as we know. I have been told, you don't know what you're talking about. Shh. I'll be very specific. I did a movie in a rock quarry in a part of the country that snows 60% of the year, rains 20, and maybe the sun comes out the rest. And the director wanted to put a very, very famous man on the edge of the, like you see in The Grinch, the cliff, on a muddy cliff in a rock quarry where they've already dug out the underneath. The flying, burning car is going to fly over his head, and he's going to watch at the tip of the cliff and watch it burn. And I said, no, that's not going to happen. And my stunt coordinator said, no, my stunt guys aren't even going out there. And the cameraman said, I'm not going out there. And the director said, F all of you, I'll shoot it myself. And I stood there as the only producer because I'm usually sent all over the world by myself with $50 million and a director that will tell me, move. I have been told, and I'm also there, and there are people that have worked for me in this room that they know that I'll say, you got to cut back. We can't have all those safety guys. We don't have the money. I don't know what to tell you. He's like, but my guys. And I'm like, do overtime. I don't know what to tell you. I'm the money. Unlike everybody else, I'm the person, I'm the power of attorney. I sign every check. I hire everybody. I am the person in charge of making the physical movie. And I have been told, too bad for you. But I'm going to say this. 2 times in my career, I told the stunt coordinator, I don't think that's going to work. It doesn't seem safe to me. And he turned to me and said, no, don't tell me. I've done this for a living. The 2 times I said it, both stunts failed. My only hero picture car ended up upside down in a lake with the stuntman strapped in the underwater. And I knew it couldn't hit that cannon or whatever that is, cannon, and make the turn and the flip and then skid up into camera. I knew it couldn't happen. And that stuntman got very hurt. And the car was destroyed and we needed it for tomorrow. Forget about everything else. So I've been told no both ways. So it's fascinating to me to speak up, and clearly, as you can see in this 3 minutes, I have no problem speaking up. I'll speak up to Tony and Ridley Scott and Joel Silver and Lauren Schuler-Daughter and Pee Wee and I, just so you know, for safety, we went up for a Taurus Award. So on our biggest movie. So I get it both ways. You know, I speak clearly. I don't think it's safe. It's more than just say no. It starts at my level when I'm told, yeah, no stunt director, no. So I need help on both sides. You know, I need, it's sort of like, you know, the issues going on in Hollywood. It starts at the studio level. You cannot cut out those positions. And you cannot cut out the money that's to save somebody's life. And just for the record, I lost jobs to the man who approved that train wreck. And people would say, yeah, it's a big action thing. We're going to go with him. And I'd go, are you kidding me? Like there's something not safe about him. And he was on that movie, and I was up for it. Okay? So I get told no in both directions. And I want it from both sides. I want my stunt coordinator, who I usually pick, it's usually my choice, to stand up with me going, you must budget a second unit director who's a stunt person if you're doing stunts. You know, I get it if you're doing something else. I once had a car crash. They put up the dolly, no Lexan, no nothing, in a very old car that the guy was going to hit the gas, an actor, not a stuntman, because they didn't want to budget for a stuntman, hit the gas, and the car didn't go into drive, it went into reverse and ran over the entire camera crew. It went flying backwards onto the dolly track, and they're like, no, we don't need blocks, the car's old, it's not going to go. It went the wrong way. So I've seen everything, and I'm not afraid to say all of us need, because it's not my money. I'm happy to scream and yell for it. But it's got to be made a really hot button issue. It's lives here that I have to go to my stuntmen and go, yeah, no, sorry, cut out your safety guys. And no second unit director. And yeah, the first AD, sorry, Jimmy, is going to direct second unit. And this is the way it goes. I sit both ways. And I'm really, really happy to be here. And thanks for hearing what I have to say. So,
Thanks, Barry. I'm going to have Howard go next. I'm going to save you, Joyce, for last. Okay, honey? Are you doing okay up there? Everybody give her a little love. This is really hard for her. She's very, 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 very generous.
Again, thank you, Julie, for inviting me. Like she said, I've been a set medic for 35 years, a little longer, actually. And I've worked on over hundreds of productions, both walk and talk, action films, behind, with construction, all these different things. And one of the things that I've seen a lot of is the lack of communication from, like they were saying earlier, from the top, from production down to the UPM, down to the ADs on set, stunt coordinators. And why they want to keep everything a secret sometimes is beyond me. But I'm a day player. I come on set, and if I'm on a show for the full run of it, that's great. So you get to learn a little bit more about your crew and everybody. But if you're a day player and you come on, you don't know anything. And you don't know if they've been taking shortcuts in the safety department, like in cases that you might have come across. One of the things I've seen over the years is there was a time when stunt people would come up to me and they would hand me looked like a credit card. And it basically was a ICS card, in case of emergency card. That gave me their name, their address, their social, their birth date, any medications they were on, stuff like that. That was a great thing to have, because if they were unable to communicate with me, if they got injured, at least I had the information that the hospital would need if that's where they were going to end up going. I think that was something, I haven't seen it in many, many years, but it was something that I appreciated. Working with a lot of the panel here, I have to say that I've been blessed that almost every single one I worked with, well, everyone I worked with on this panel have been the safest crew I've worked with. They always had safety in the front of their mind. But I've also worked on many, many shows where, like Carrie was saying, is, nope, they don't care about safety, you know? And a lot of times is I'll get a call to come up and I find out a show's been shooting for a couple days. And I go, well, how long have you been shooting? They go, oh, this is our third day. Oh, who's your medic yesterday? We didn't have one. Someone got hurt yesterday, that's why you're here today. So that occasionally happens. The other thing I want to bring up is that you have to be you have to be truthful. If you're a principal cast member, you go for a cast physical, and the doctor asks you all these questions. You can't be afraid to tell them anything that you may have an ailment. I had a principal actor, had asthma. He was afraid to tell the doctor he had an asthma attack on set. We're not allowed to carry prescription drugs, but if you have a prescription drug, we can hold it for you. Well, he needed his inhaler. I called the cast doctor, because that's not a problem. We can go to pharmacy and get it filled. But when I talked to the doctor, she goes, he didn't tell me he had asthma. And that just delayed getting medication to him. We did get the medication to him, but it was getting close to where we might have had to call for an ambulance, who might have had to take him to the hospital, because he was afraid to tell the cast physical doctor that he had a medical issue. And I think that is really important. You have a sprained knee and you have to run 100 yards in a scene. Well, when take 27 comes around, your knee is not feeling too good, and you may be on medication for it. You come to me wanting something, and you don't tell me you're on a certain medication, and we make available other medications for you. They may be, contraindication for what you're taking, and can make you sick, make you very sick. So we need to know this information. Don't be afraid. And with the HEPA laws, you tell me something, it's confidential. I can't go to the production and say, oh, Joe Smith has, whoever that is, has this problem, so he can't do this, or you shouldn't make him do this. If the actor or whoever wants to tell production they have that ailment, that's their prerogative. But I can't go to them and tell them. I would encourage them to make sure they understood you can't run 100 yards more than a couple of times, otherwise your knee's going to give out. Because there's nothing I can do other than treat you after your knee is blown up like the size of a basketball, all swollen, and then we can't film with you at that point. So that's I'd like to open with.
I want to add something to that just quickly. I've been told in confidence by stunt men, I haven't worked with that many women, stunt men, that that it's like taboo to complain that they're hurt, that their coordinator won't hire them again, or that I'm not going to get work if somebody find out that I'm hurt. I was shocked. I got it once they said, I was like, I'm like, you're limping, and they're like, no, it's okay. I did a huge movie with a woman, famous woman, stunt coordinator, who begged the director to use her, whoever she does horse stuff with, her partner, male partner, who she was trained with, and the director said, talk to the producer. Well, that wasn't me at this particular movie. It was somebody at the studio level. And they said, well, it's in this very famous actor's contract that we use his double. We must use his double, who was not trained in horses, but we must use his double. This girl was thrown under the horse. He missed the throw. He pulls her off he travels up next to her. He grabs her off the horse. He picks her up, and he's supposed to string her onto his horse, and he misses. And she goes flying underneath the horse, and she is trampled by 4 horses. It was taken away by an ambulance. And 2 days later, they're like, she's ready to do it again. I'm like, she's doing it again. And then someone said, they're afraid. They're afraid that she won't work again. I was like, shame on you. You cannot ever sacrifice anything like that. And I was like, and there she is with all of her bruises and everything, and they put a wig on her, and off she has to go do this. I never saw anything in my life like I saw a girl trampled at 60 miles an hour under 4 horses. It looked like something thrown in the blender is what she looked like. Bloody, unconscious, and because they denied her stunt partner. They denied her. Major studio said, no, it's in his contract. You got to use his guy. And I've seen everything. You must speak up. You must. It's not, well, then you know what, thanks, but we're not going to do the stunt. I don't have a problem with it. Doesn't matter to me. Well, it's not going to happen. You have to stand up for what you believe in because it's somebody's life, and you can get hurt. People can get hurt, and people can say no, and you can say no to me. I don't care. I'm quick to say, he said no. Say no, or say stop. I'm actually, I'm compassionate because they say no to me too. Oh, he needs more safety guys. No. So
Joyce.
I'm just supporting what he's saying.
Let me say this too, that if any of you are ever put in a position where you're uncomfortable with what they're asking you to do, that you can come to most of us stunt coordinators and say you're concerned, and I don't have a problem saying no. I'll say it in capital letters with an exclamation mark at the end, and nobody can make me do it. But I've been around a while, and I got a reputation, so I'm not afraid to say no. Right? And I've also been there when you're doing a death-defying stunt, and so you don't eat for 12 hours before, because if you have to go into surgery, the first thing you ask when was the last time you ate, you got to wait 12 hours. So you stop eating 12 hours before you're going to climb in that car and go off that cliff, so that if something goes wrong, they can go ahead and take care of you right away. Jules.
Darling Joyce, are you ready? You okay?
Yes.
Atta girl.
Yes. Can you hear me? Yes. I was hit by a train. Think about it. The images of running for your life to get out of its path, the roaring sound of its engine, the deadly force of its wrath. I was hit by a train. I am blessed to be alive. I carry the guilt of survival, especially since Sarah died. 60 miles per hour, nowhere to run but ahead, towards oncoming lights, believing we were going to be dead. Anxiety filled our hearts. Fear struck our eyes. Seeing the oncoming train, not understanding why. Why was this happening? We thought we were safe. A train shouldn't have been coming through this place because we were on the job, not knowing the danger we faced. Safety precautions weren't taken. Rules were not met. Not speaking up is the one thing I regret. We need to all be vigilant. Show that we care. Look out for one another at work and don't be scared. Before we all go to work, we must all look in the mirror and remember to be safe, because we all are Sarah. We are Sarah Jones. I didn't know what to say when I was invited to come out here. And one way that I felt would help me was to write a poem, because that was one way that I coped during the entire tragedy, writing. And poetry is one of my loves. And I felt like I would be able to get across better telling my story through poem, so that you can understand and feel what I went through, instead of telling the entire story. But one thing that I want you to know is I'm just like you, just living my life, just a wife, a mother. I have children, and I went to work just like we all go to work. I never in a million years thought that I would have gone to work, get hit by a train, witness my coworker and my friend die, and still be alive. You know, I never thought that my life would have made a turn just like that. And it was day 2 of the job. And like you all, you know, I was excited to be working. You know, in this industry, we take the jobs as they come. So it didn't matter to me that it was a low-budget film. I just wanted to work. And everything was wrong that day. It was just everything was wrong. And starting from not filling out my paperwork. I didn't fill my paperwork out the first day, which I encourage people when you start work and fill out your paperwork, because we get so busy, you know, trying to hurry up, you know, the hurry up and wait syndrome, you know, that we don't take time to just even do that. We just start working. And day 2, I filled out my paperwork only because something said, Joyce, stop. Don't do anything else, just get it done. And I refused to do anything else but fill out my paperwork. Unbeknownst to me that that would have been a big deal later. And that day when we were out on the trestle, we didn't know that danger was lurking. We automatically assumed that we were safe because we assumed that everybody did their jobs. I'm a hairstylist. I don't know what the location permits are or anything like that. I assume that whoever's in charge of those things have those things taken care of. I was there just to do my job as a hairstylist. So when things started to unfold, it just amazed me of how quickly things happened. Being on that trestle and knowing how we all felt, but nobody felt like they could say, I'm scared, or I don't feel safe. Everybody was scared to speak up, except one person. And even when that one person did say something, it was just kind of like brushed under the rug, like whatever. We have to keep filming. And we didn't have time to get off that trestle when the trains came. And when the train came, we all basically ran for our lives. And it was by the grace of God that we, at least most of us, were able to get off. But not after, till the train had already passed and had killed Sarah. You know, I had to run to the side of the iron girder and hold on like an embryo, as tight as I could, and pray that I did not get hit by the train. The train came so fast, 60 miles an hour or more, and the pressure is what got me. It pulled my arm, and I saw when my arm snapped. And I hate seen blood, but I didn't think anything about it. When my arm snapped in half, all I did was grab it. I grabbed it and held it. And we were shooting a scene where it was a dream sequence. So there was a bed that was on the bed, a bed that was on the trestle, the tracks as a prop. Once that train came and hit the bed, the sheets, everything just kind of blew everywhere. But I feel like there was an angel watching over me, because the sheet that was on that bed fell right in front of me, right on the iron, on the cable. And I was able to grab that sheet and wrap my arm up as a tourniquet. I didn't even know to do that. I just did it. And that's what helped save my life because I almost bled to death. So I tell you this because I'm living testimony. And I promised that I would use my voice to speak up if I ever felt unsafe again. And I want you all to do the same.